is there anything you guys can, maybe something we can touch more on or maybe less on? Like what would, getting into the business, like I'm already in it, so I can't really say what would help me or not at this point. I know from experience what I would like to see more of, but from where you guys are standing, is there anything else you guys want to see or be able to play more with, or?
Well, in a week, there's only so much you can do, and what you guys are offering.
There is. We cut actually quite a bit out. I mean, we've given you tons and tons of material. You guys can go through it. It's
exactly.
Great for looking at for reference.
But again, if you can't learn everything in a week, we were both very new to this whole thing. We don't have any experience whatsoever, except for maybe making wine or something.
Yeah. But that's what I'm trying to say is like it's a very fine line of you can go into these big courses and do all the chemistry and all the the stuff that you need to be almost a professor at to learn, and then there's all the the step-by-step stuff out in the distillery. So you got to have some of each to give you a broader knowledge. And like you said, there's only so much you fit in a week. Otherwise, you have to go to a full university and take 8-10 months of training, right? So
I agree, but I feel we pretty confident that we could get out there and start making it happen. I feel pretty good about that. So
we have the tools anyway. We have the tools of the business plan and the worksheets to see if it's viable what we're planning on doing, and if not, then we have to either change something or have it as a non-start. But
and something I think is good is I had a bunch of questions that I think I've had answered, but the biggest thing is there's been questions that I think I got answered that I didn't even know going into it. So that's say the size or something like that. Some of the legal aspects of the terminology of it. So I think that's valuable walking into this.
What Malcolm and I wanted to create is a world-class workshop in the distilling industry in Canada. I know that our course so far kicks butt on a lot of them in the US. Like the amount of material that you're getting, what you guys are doing here is quite a bit more than you would have had at some of those courses.
Like I said, I went to that Artisan Craft Institute in Gig Harbor and didn't learn anything about grain, yeast, fermentation, the chemical reactions, nothing. And when I talked to the instructor, he says, well, these people wouldn't understand it anyways, so we're not going to teach it.
That's not the point. I mean, you guys got to have, even if you don't understand it, you got to have an idea that this stuff exists, and you can research it more when you get home if you want. But you got to know about it, right?
I think that's part of the important part. I mean, I had researched a little bit to see what other places. I even looked at the course in Scotland, and there's a big institute of in Kentucky also. So this one is like an interesting balance. For a week, it had I could see from your website that there's a balance between sort of classroom and playing with the equipment, and that was attractive in and of itself because I really wanted to see what having done a little bit at home, what it means to scale it up, and sort of confirms my personal confidence that I could do it. But in class, and the fact that many of us were asking questions from different angles because we all have a little bit of slightly different experience, it makes you see that first, you're not alone. Two, they're legitimate questions, and there's no right or wrong answers. There's clearly some trial and error involved, but you got resources at your disposal, and you're giving tons of materials in reference. I could probably think of a few more things you could be useful in follow-up classes, that you keep adding materials, but like for instance on the yeasts, because you don't have to go into the yeast because you go online and you can go blind reading that stuff. There's so much information, but at least knowing that the choice of the yeast could make a difference in the taste profile and where to go look for more information about it, that's probably all we need to know, right? And it's like showing us where the doors are. And we can come back and researching it additionally.
Okay,
that's great.
Okay,
The focus a lot on what we wanted to know too. How does the bottle work? We pick it up, set it up. Like a lot of places, you don't get things like that. It's structured to such a degree that you don't get to interject. Only what they're telling you.
Matt, what are your thoughts? You're going to be working for guys in Banff that are doing this. How?
Yeah, read a lot of books, took a little bit of education on yeast and fermentation only, but nothing hands-on. And I really enjoyed how small this class was compared to, when one of my owners went, it was 40 people in a classroom that there's no...
Yeah, that was the one in Montreal, you said, right?
No, that one was in...
in Chicago,
football,
yeah. So 40 people in the room.
Yeah,
and
there's no one-on-one times. You can't stop talking because if all 40 people have a question, it would take forever. Where us, we all, communicating together. We kind of figured out what each person's doing with their steps of it. And then being hands-on out there, I think, was a big thing. Being able to just touch the stills and take off the glass. I didn't expect that, right? I thought it was going to be more, watch me do it and remember.
I was doing a lot of stuff, and I have a little trouble kind of letting go of some of the stuff out there. But I don't mind. If you want to, I don't mind people saying, "Hey, I want to try this out." Like you're going to come in this morning, you wanted to start everything up and let it go, and I was like, well, "That's fine."
Yeah, you're really open then if you're having a hard time doing that. It's good. Yeah.
So Tyler and Miguel, what about you guys? You don't have a whole lot of experience, home brewing and whatnot, but you're obviously you came here with something in your mind. What are your thoughts now that you've?
Yeah, I came here completely empty as far as all the home brewing and distilling went. So everything's been useful to me.
So you feel you got enough materials now that you can start to really dig in and see if it's a business that you would start.
I know what I need to do next if I'm going to move forward.
What are your thoughts, Miguel?
Yeah, well, I came just because I couldn't find anything else in Canada. I thought for me, if I was going to do a business, it would be important to be in Canada. There's obviously a lot of other things, but if I go to the
one
US,
of the biggest issues too. Having a Canadian course, it's completely different. When I went to one of the courses in the US, they brought in all these people, lawyers and stuff on the excise there, and it doesn't apply at all. It was a total day and a half wasted time altogether.
At the end of the day, that was one of my deciding choices because I had to settle on perhaps another class. But then that was my logic. I said, why would I want to spend that much time understanding how the American system works? Right?
And the course that you took, that was in Washington.
Yeah.
Now, it's not a functional working distillery, is it?
No, it was. The event was put on at a hotel, which happened to be right beside Heritage Distilling, so they paid him.
Okay.
But there was very limited amounts of hands-on, let me tell you, because it was his distillery, and he was getting paid, and it was watch me do it and stand back.
Is that Elk Rider or something?
Yeah.